Welcome to Bold English Speakers. Unlock your confidence. Master English.
In 1930, a handful of national teams boarded ships, sailed for weeks across the ocean to Uruguay, and, they just played a few matches of football.
Right, it was a pretty modest experiment back then.
Exactly. Just a modest experiment. But today, almost a century later, half the human race will simultaneously stop whatever they're doing to watch the exact same thing.
It is wild when you actually stop and think about the scale of it.
It really is. I mean, how does a simple game played on a grass field effectively hijack human culture every 4 years?
And you might be listening to this thinking, well, I really don't care about sports, so why does this matter to me?
Right. Totally fair question.
Mm.
But what we are actually looking at today isn't just a sport. We are looking at, the architecture of human obsession.
Which requires looking at it through a very specific lens, to avoid getting lost in all the noisy statistics or like the celebrity of the players.
Yeah, we have to strip all that away.
Exactly. And the source material we're analyzing today is brilliantly suited for that. Because it isn't some complex sociological treatise. It is literally an English language learning lesson entirely focused on the World Cup.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because using a basic language lesson to understand a massive global event feels, honestly, completely counterintuitive.
I know, it seems too basic on the surface. But when you are forced to strip a wildly complex global phenomenon down to its absolute most foundational vocabulary.
I mean, like explaining it to a total beginner?
Right, defining words to a student who is learning them for the very first time. When you do that, you inadvertently reveal the raw tribal core of the event.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you aren't just teaching words, you're mapping out the mechanics of how human beings organize, compete, and celebrate.
And so that is the mission for this deep dive. We are taking this ESL lesson and we are going to read between the lines.
Digging into the real meaning.
Exactly. We are going to use these basic vocabulary definitions as stepping stones to understand the psychology, the preparation, and the massive cultural gravity of the World Cup.
Breaking down all those core concepts.
Right. We'll mechanicalize these concepts so that whether you're a fanatic or a complete beginner to the sport, you will understand the machinery underneath it all.
So, to start understanding that machinery, we really have to look at the structural foundation the text lays out for us.
Where does it start?
Well, it introduces the word tournament and defines it simply as a competition involving many teams or players. But we need to look at what that actually means on a planetary scale.
Right, because when I hear tournament, I think of like a weekend golf outing at the local club.
Yeah, a bunch of people just hanging out.
Exactly. But a tournament of this magnitude operates more like a massive multi-stage global filtration system.
Oh, I like that way of putting it.
Yeah, because you start with this incredibly diverse pool of hopeful nations across the planet, and they are subjected to this relentless series of physical and strategic stress tests over years.
And if your national system fails the test, you are filtered out.
Yep, you go home. But if you survive, you advance.
And the culmination of that filtration process, which is organized by the governing body FIFA, requires a very specific physical environment.
The stadiums.
Right. The text defines a stadium as a large sports arena where matches are played. But again, that's a clinical definition that kind of misses the psychological reality.
They aren't just fields with seats.
No, not at all. They are architectural pressure cookers deliberately designed to funnel the kinetic energy and noise of 80,000 screaming humans directly down onto the pitch.
Wow, yeah, they are quite literally built to amplify the stakes.
Exactly.
And the ultimate goal of surviving that filtration system inside those pressure cookers is to become the champion, which the text just calls the winner of a competition.
Which is probably the most understated way to describe being the single surviving collective out of 8 billion people.
Yeah, talk about an understatement.
But the most revealing part of this foundational section of the text isn't actually the vocabulary itself.
Wait, really? What is it then?
It is the grammatical structure the lesson uses to teach it. The text specifically highlights the simple present tense.
Oh, I noticed that. The lesson points out that we use the simple present tense for facts and habits.
Right.
It gives practice sentences like, the World Cup takes place every 4 years, and FIFA organizes the tournament.
Think about the psychology of that for a moment. By using the simple present tense to teach English grammar, the text treats this sporting event not as some...
Because framing it as a natural rhythmic habit completely obscures the grueling human friction required to make it happen.
That's fair.
Like an orbit happens automatically. But the World Cup requires a terrifying amount of logistical and physical suffering to maintain that illusion of a seamless 4-year cycle.
That is a very fair distinction. The rhythm is totally artificial. And maintaining it requires what the text introduces as our next critical concept, which is strategy.
Okay, yes. The text defines strategy as a plan designed to achieve success. And, people always want to use that cliche of a chess master to explain this.
Oh, the old grandmaster analogy.
Right. They say a football coach is like a grandmaster moving pieces around a board, anticipating the opponent 5 moves ahead. But that analogy completely fails to capture the reality for a beginner.
Because, well, chess pieces don't have lactic acid building up in their muscles.
Nope.
And they don't experience anxiety in front of millions of people.
Exactly. A much better way to visualize this strategy is to imagine the coach as the conductor of a highly delicate symphony orchestra.
Okay, I'm following you.
You have 11 completely different instruments, your defenders, your midfielders, your forwards, and they have to play a complex piece of music perfectly in sync.
Right.
But the catch is, while they are trying to play this beautiful music, a rival orchestra is actively sprinting at them, trying to tackle them and smash their instruments.
That's a brilliant way to picture it. And you have to train those musicians to execute that music under those exact hostile conditions for 4 solid years.
4 years of just brutal preparation.
Exactly. The text makes a real point to emphasize this timeline. Players train their bodies to the absolute limit of human performance. Coaches obsess over spatial geometry and psychological resilience.
Which really recontextualizes another vocabulary word from the lesson, which is achievement.
Right, defined as something important that has been accomplished.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the sheer volume of grueling preparation required, the 4 years of physical conditioning, the tactical iterations, the whole process of surviving the preliminary qualifying rounds against neighboring countries.
It's exhausting just listing it all.
It really is. And you realize that simply arriving at the World Cup is a monumental achievement before the referee even blows the whistle for the first match.
Yeah, you have survived the global filtration system just to earn the right to step onto the main stage.
But here's the thing. Building that highly tuned physical machine over 4 years is entirely useless if it shatters under psychological pressure.
Oh, for sure. Which brings us to the climax of the event.
The real drama.
Right. All of that meticulous, years-long strategic planning inevitably collides with the chaotic, unpredictable reality of a 90-minute match.
Because strategy only gets you to the starting line.
Exactly.
The source text leans heavily into the drama that unfolds on the pitch. It specifically highlights how matches often end with dramatic goals in the final minutes.
Let's talk about those final minutes, because you have players who have run anywhere from 7 to 10 miles over the course of the match.
They are completely physically depleted.
Completely. The tactical symphony you spent 4 years composing is breaking down because, well, the human brain literally stops processing information efficiently when the body is that exhausted.
Your cognitive function just drops.
And in that specific window of vulnerability, a single microscopic error in judgment can instantly incinerate a half-decade of work.
That is the brutal reality of the sport.
Yeah.
But the text introduces a concept that pushes that psychological pressure even further.
Oh, the penalty shootout.
Yes, it brings up the penalty shootout.
The ultimate dramatic set piece, like nothing compares to it.
The lesson defines a penalty shootout as a method used to decide a winner when a match is tied.
Again, a definition so clinical, it almost feels insulting to the players who have to endure it.
It really does.
If you are a beginner, you really need to understand that a penalty shootout is pure, concentrated psychological torture.
Let's break down the mechanics of why that is. Because throughout the match, a player relies on the collective dynamic of the team, right?
Right. If they make a mistake, a teammate can cover for them.
Exactly. But in a penalty shootout, the complex team strategy dissolves completely.
It's gone.
The match is paused. And one single player has to walk from the center of the pitch completely alone to face the opposing goalkeeper from 12 yards away.
It's like, okay, imagine working on a massive group project for 4 whole years.
Okay.
But your final grade comes down to one single team member having to take a pop quiz in front of the entire world.
That is terrifying.
Right. It's like taking an astronaut who has been working seamlessly as part of a highly trained crew for a 4-year mission and suddenly telling them they have to step outside the spaceship entirely untethered to perform a microscopic repair while a billion people watch them on a live feed.
No pressure, right.
I mean, the mechanics of kicking a stationary ball into a massive net are incredibly simple for a professional, But the context transforms that simple action into an insurmountable mental mountain.
And neuroscience actually backs this up.
Really? How so?
It's a phenomenon called choking under pressure. When a highly trained athlete is put in a situation of extreme, isolating stress, their prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that handles conscious thought, suddenly wakes up.
Oh, so they start overthinking it.
Exactly. It tries to manually control a physical action that is supposed to be automatic muscle memory. So the brain essentially gets in its own way.
Wow. It makes you wonder if a penalty shootout is even a fair measure of football skill, or if it's just a raw test of neurological resilience.
That's a great question.
Because you are literally watching a human mind either conquer its own evolutionary panic response or publicly collapse under it.
And those moments of extreme isolated pressure are exactly why the trophy matters so much.
Ah, right, the trophy.
The text defines it as an award given to the winner. But sociologically, the trophy isn't just a piece of sculpted metal.
What is it then?
It acts as the physical manifestation of overcoming that immense psychological burden. When a legendary player dreams of lifting that trophy, they are dreaming of the release valve at the end of 4 years of suffocating pressure.
That makes total sense. But let's pan the camera out from the field for a second.
Okay, where to?
Well, building the machine, surviving the filtration system, enduring the psychological trauma of the penalty shootout, none of it actually matters if there isn't a culture waiting to react to it.
Ah, the fans.
Right.
Yeah.
The spectacle only has gravity because of the people watching it happen.
The lifeblood of the entire ecosystem. And the text introduces 2 crucial words here. Supporter, defined as a fan who supports a team, and passion, defined as a strong feeling of enthusiasm or love for something.
I want to focus on the grammar section again here because the lesson provides these practice sentences for the students. It says, fans support their favorite teams.
Okay.
It's incredibly telling that support is taught as an active verb.
How do you mean?
Well, think about when you go to a movie theater. You are a spectator. You sit in the dark and you passively let the entertainment wash over you.
Right. The movie plays the exact same way whether you're in the room or not.
Exactly. But in the context of the World Cup, support is not passive viewing. It is an active emotional investment. You are practically trying to alter the physics of the game through sheer willpower from your living room couch.
You are participating in the event.
Yes.
And the text provides a fantastic window into this through its writing exercise. It gives an example paragraph where a hypothetical fan describes their favorite parts of the experience.
What do they highlight?
They mention watching teams from different countries, enjoying amazing goals, and crucially, gathering to watch the games with friends and family.
That physical gathering is the catalyst. You aren't experiencing this in isolation.
No, you're with your people.
Right. You are sitting with your community, wearing your national colors. You are sharing the adrenaline spike when your team approaches the goal, and you are sharing the collective heartbreak when they miss the penalty kick.
It creates a perfectly synchronized emotional state.
Exactly.
And think about the scale of that. When a dramatic goal is scored in the final minute, you have millions of people across an entire country experiencing the exact same peak neurochemical rush at the exact same millisecond.
It gives you chills just thinking about it.
It really does. And that shared, active passion is what elevates the World Cup from a simple sporting event into what the text explicitly calls a global celebration.
But that localized family gathering in a living room, it doesn't just stay contained there.
Right, it grows.
It aggressively scales up. It radiates out to the neighborhood, to the city, and suddenly it is connecting entire cultures across the globe.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the most powerful vocabulary word in this entire English lesson.
The word represent.
Yes.
To act or compete on behalf of a group or country.
When those 11 players step onto the pitch during the national anthems, they are no longer just athletes executing a strategy.
No, they become avatars for an entire population.
Exactly. They are carrying the history, the cultural identity, and the local community pride of their nation on their shoulders.
This is where we see local pride explode onto a global stage. The text emphasizes that the tournament brings together people from different cultures and backgrounds.
Right.
And it does this by offering a peaceful, highly structured arena for a country to assert its identity.
Especially for the smaller nations, like when a massive, historically dominant footballing country plays against a tiny underdog nation, the physical boundaries of the pitch serve as a great equalizer.
That's a really profound way to look at it.
Because for 90 minutes, geopolitical power dynamics are just paused. If that small community manages to defeat the giant, it inspires a level of local pride that is almost impossible to replicate in any other sphere of human life.
Those victories literally become national holidays.
Oh, absolutely. They become legendary oral histories passed down through generations.
Which leads perfectly into the final discussion topic the ESL lesson poses to its students.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, it presents a statement. It says, the World Cup is more than a football tournament. It brings people together from different cultures. And it asks the learner if they agree or disagree.
I love this because it's a profound sociological question disguised as a simple English prompt.
It really is.
It makes you ask, is the football actually secondary? Is the game itself merely a universally understood excuse that we use to facilitate a massive planetary cultural exchange?
It demands that you consider the paradox of unity through competition.
Right.
Because when you have two nations, perhaps nations with completely different languages, complicated histories, or fundamentally opposing worldviews, pausing everything to engage in this shared set of rules,
Yeah.
is that uniting us?
I mean, even if the fans in the stadium are aggressively rooting against each other, they are still implicitly agreeing to participate in the exact same shared reality.
Yes, they are acknowledging the exact same boundaries of the grass field.
And they are respecting the authority of the exact same referee.
It requires a profound level of mutual respect just to play the game in the first place. You have to agree on the parameters of reality to compete.
That's beautifully said.
And in a modern world that often feels incredibly divided, fractured, and chaotic, finding a space where billions of people can implicitly agree on the reality of a 90-minute game is honestly a minor miracle of human cooperation.
It absolutely is. And, that is the journey we've taken today, guided by a surprisingly simple vocabulary list.
A very insightful list, as it turns out.
Definitely. We started by looking at this monumental global filtration system, tracing its roots from a few boats heading to Uruguay in 1930 to the architectural pressure cookers of modern stadiums.
We unpacked the delicate, years-long strategic symphony orchestrated by coaches, and how that preparation violently collides with the chaotic, isolating psychological torture of the penalty shootout.
And most importantly, we examined the synchronized emotional state of the supporters. We saw how active passion transforms an ordinary game of football into a powerful engine for local community pride and cultural representation.
It really strips away the superficial layers and reveals a fundamental truth about human nature.
And that's the real takeaway for you, the listener. Even if you despise sports, or even if the controversies of governing bodies leave you cynical, understanding the mechanics of this event offers an unparalleled window into who we are as a species.
Absolutely.
It highlights our deep, shared, tribal desire to gather, to emotionally invest in a collective struggle, and to proudly represent our communities on the largest possible stage.
Well said. And as we wrap up this analysis, I want to leave you with one final thought to explore on your own.
All right, let's hear it.
We've spent this time discussing how a simple game with a ball, governed by universally agreed upon rules, has the power to unite millions of drastically different people in a shared rhythmic habit every 4 years.
Right.
So if something so remarkably simple can bridge the complex, muddy waters of cultural division, what other simple, shared human habits might possess that same untapped potential to bring the world closer together?